When I was contacted by Heinrich to have a look at these new watches, I actually asked him to send me that watch, and he sent me these as well. And I'm glad he sent me that, because this thing here has been phenomenal. I really enjoyed this on the wrist, and a total surprise. I didn't think I was going to like the look from the website, but having this thing in the hand has been an absolute joy. Now the word Helicoprion is actually a Greek word. Helico, which means spiral, and prion or prioni, which means saw. So spiral saw. But as you can see, it's like a buzz saw around that dial, and it's not a new concept. This thing, I believe JLC and Universal Geneve used to have their dials very similar to this. So this particular watch has really surprised me, and I want to share my thoughts on it because it's one of the only watches, there's probably about 3 or 4 watches I've had on the channel which I've really struggled to find gripes with, technical gripes, and this is one of them. It's really well made. Now the reason we all watch YouTube channels with watches, maybe to get some input or some advice on what we experience, what I experience as a reviewer of these watches. And I'm going to tell you straight out, that thing there, I mean, I've had these, they're lovely watches. I've actually enjoyed that because I've only worn that on the wrist. It's been wonderful. Now we'll show you guys the different dials in different lighting scenarios, but I just haven't been able to get this off my wrist. It's been a great, enjoyable, comfortable experience, and I think if I can give you some feedback of what I've experienced with a particular watch, it just aids in how you think and see a watch. I can easily just roll off specs on a watch. Everyone can do that. That's easy. But telling you what I've experienced from a watch, well, that takes a week. At least a week on the wrist, day, night, afternoon, midday, just to see what these things do. Now, you saw the pop-up. This video is sponsored by Heinrich. He'll be sending me a production version of these watches, one of them. I was going to choose that. I think I'm going to go down the road of this. And on their website, if you have a look, there's actually different colorways, which is great, a nice variety. And looking at their website, they actually have a pre-order going on at the moment because the watch comes with 2 different movements. You can choose between a Sellita SW200 Elaborate grade, which comes in at €692, or the Miyota 9015, a premium variant regulated, which comes in at $557. So the fact that he's offering 2 different movements for these watches, you get to choose, save some money. Some people opt for a Miyota, some people opt for a Sellita. That's brilliant. So without any further ado, let's get into the size of this watch, and then I'll tell you my experience. So I measure exactly 40mm case diameter with a 12.9mm case height, a lug to lug of 47.9 and a lug width of 20. Now that crown is a 7mm signed screw down crown. The watch offers 200 meters of water resistance, and the total weight on the bracelet sized to my 18cm wrist comes in at exactly 151 grams and 98 grams on a rubber strap. Now these are pre-production versions and they've been handed around, so you're going to see scratches on these things everywhere, but as you can see, the footprint, the overhead, it sits beautifully. The height is great. The comfort, this bracelet has been lovely. There's marginal taper. It goes from 20mm down to 17.9, but very stable, very comfortable, especially with that on-the-fly adjustment. And I know a lot of people are going to complain that the actual clasp is a little bit on the bigger side. I actually like it. I actually like the fact that this clasp is big. It actually counterbalances that watch head, albeit Wolfgang did say that he will be changing the class to a slightly smaller class. Same layout with its on-the-fly adjustability, as you can see, but a slightly smaller, more thinner profile. So bear that in mind. And looking closely at that bracelet, as you can see, it folds straight down, straight under, great articulation. It's a really solid piece, screw pins, proper milled swivel and clasp with that on-the-fly adjustment, in and out. And one of the things that I like about a clasp like this, you don't actually have to put it on, well, you don't actually have to take it off the wrist to adjust it. I love that. I just feel it's more toolish and more practical in its usage. So for me, that's a big plus. Now looking at those dials, like I said, it's a radial brushed dial. It's got the BUZZSAW pattern. And I did not think that I was going to like this particular one here, or this style with the high contrast. I actually thought that, yeah, it's more subtle. As you can see the differences in these, I would have thought, yeah, that's probably nicer, more subdued, but you know what? That's the hero. For me, that is wonderful. That is so nice. And I think even some colour in there. He's got green, he's got different layouts. That is a really nice look. And if you notice the handset, it's in between a black section in the middle. That is great because the legibility on this has been fantastic. I thought this was going to suffer. It's been wonderful. Next design element that Heinrich does is that date wheel at the 6 o'clock and that seconds hand, they correspond. So when that goes around, it basically fully eclipses that date wheel. So that is lovely. So that's a little niche that, as you can see there, beautiful. I like that. It's good. A few companies are doing that, and I think it just adds a little bit of a nice character to the watch, a detail that us enthusiasts enjoy. Pretty schmick. Now, turning my attention to that sapphire crystal, I actually really like this. It's got a double dome sapphire. It's very reminiscent of the older sapphire crystals. As you can see, it's slightly pronounced. It sticks up a little bit from the case. You can see the dome underneath the crystal, and it's got anti-reflective coating on both sides. There's a slight blue hue to the AR coating. It has done a really great job. If anything, it's just added more character to this watch. It's a very similar crystal to what's on my Seiko Marine Master in its double dome look, and that's why I think I like this so much. Albeit, this is sapphire, the Marine Master is Hardlex crystal. Now, I did mention that these watches will come with two different movements. You can either choose a Sellita at a slightly higher premium or the Japanese Miyota. They're both regulated. They're both excellent grade, elaborate or premium variant of that Miyota. So that is a great option for me to have in a watch. For you to choose that movement. It just changes the whole dynamic and the fact that you can spend the amount of money that you want and still get the same watch. That's brilliant. Now lastly, looking at the lume of the watch offers Swiss Superluminova BGW9. It's been very good. It's been actually very good, well applied, very even, walking in from outside to indoors in subdued light. It's been a pleasure. Now being a dive watch, there's no timing bezel. It's basically got a fixed bezel with fixed screws. So he's gone, from what I can tell, he's gone down the road of making a watch that's more stylistic in choice. Aesthetically, this looks superb. It really does. It's got great character, a lot of nice details coming off the dial and even the case itself with that fixed bezel. And I've got to be honest, guys, it's been just a pure pleasure on the wrist. Now, when it comes to gripes, what are my gripes of this watch? Well, this is a very hard one because I've seriously enjoyed this watch. Albeit it does not have a functional bezel. So you guys, look, objectively, you guys might say, yeah, it's not a diver. Okay, I get it. Personally, I don't care because more so for its looks and its aesthetics, I think this is a great wearing experience. And I think it's a smart choice in what is done because who uses their dive watches these days? Next gripe, again, we spoke about that clasp. I don't mind this. I like the actual physical size of this, albeit he will be changing it to a smaller one. I think it balances out the watch head and the weight. For me, throughout the week, it's been a great experience, but looking forward to see what the smaller one brings. We'll see whether that's a plus or a minus, but this works well nonetheless. Technically, I'm really stumped on this watch. Everything just works and it works well. But subjectively, well, that's really up to the individual. It's really up to you. What you don't like or do like about the watch, that's your call. But I've enjoyed it immensely. It's something that I've got in the hand, and I think you really have to feel this. It's built well. In fact, it feels solid. I spoke about the counterbalance of that clasp on this watch head. It feels heavy. It feels rock solid and heavy. It's not. It's 151 grams on the wrist, sized with a bracelet, but it just feels substantial, which it's a real reassuring experience on the wrist. And in that regard, it's been great. And probably the last gripe, look, I might say the price. I think the pre-order price is great, but that said, at the end of December, these things are going to be going up. So if you're keen on something like this, guys, get in early and take advantage of that price because I think this is a really good piece. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. My take on this Heinrich Helicoprion, the BUZZSAW dial. I didn't think I was going to like the high contrast variant, and I don't know why I like it so much. It is such a nice, different, quirky piece. Thank you for watching, guys. Leave me your thoughts. Let me know what you think about this watch. I think Heinrich seems to be going from glory to glory. He started with some 1970s designs. He's refining them. He's going into a direction which definitely demonstrating his particular signature on these watches, and albeit very well built. Thank you again. Be safe on the roads in this holiday period. Enjoy your family, friends, and try to convert a lot of your family members into watch geeks like us. Thanks for watching, be well, and we'll see you in the next one.